everybody, and welcome once again to Geekfest Rants. My name is Carlos Perone, and today I have a guest who you probably won't recognize because he's not one of our usual contributors. He's somebody new that is coming to the show to hopefully do some work with us and showcase some of his material that he's been doing for quite a long time now. His name is A. Das Baron. Say hello. Say hello, Das.
Hello, Das.
There you go. See, I knew I was going to get stuck on the name.
Nah, it's all right. You probably do better than a lot of people do. Is it A? Yeah. Oh, hi, A. No, that's not. No, that's
well,
not
you know what? I'm going to break format off the bat already. Okay, give me some celebrities that have the first initial and then the name.
J. Michael Straczynski?
Oh, I love him. He's great. I love him.
F. Scott Fitzgerald. I don't know. I'm just pulling things out of my behind.
Well, no, believe me, if you're starting off with Straczynski with me, you just scored 1,000 points. I'm a huge Babylon 5 fan.
Excellent.
And it's kind of like when people say, have you seen Casablanca or have you seen Citizen Kane? I have purposely never watched Citizen Kane because everybody tells me it's the greatest film in the history of film. Or at least American films. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I'm saving that one. I'm saving it. And I've been saving it now since high school and college. And I am still to watch that film. But Babylon 5 is one of these shows that I love the show. And I am yet to do a show on Babylon 5.
I have not seen it. I have a friend who's really into it. Are you familiar with Portlandia at all?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that show.
Okay, the sketch where they get, or is it Battlestar Galactica?
They do the Battlestar, the binge watching. Oh my God, that's such a funny skit. It's like that skit should be included in the Battlestar DVDs. Obviously they got the guys to perform it. Man, have we gotten off subject already in the beginning? Which is, we do that all the time. We take tangents and we go for a walk and then we come back. The reason we're doing this different type of show is, like I said before, I would like to introduce you guys to a new contributor who. Let me give you a little background of how how we kind of hooked up. And again, I'm in my mid 40s, so hooking up is a different meaning that people probably his age or younger.
I'm a little sore.
How we met because technically, if you want to get technical, we have not met. We have not met in person, but we have been probably within 5 feet from each other because over the last couple of months, I've been attending these toy shows in Wayne here in New Jersey, which are these monthly shows they've been doing. They've been doing them for a while, but I only hopped on this past summer, the beginning of the summer, more like the spring. And, I walk around there and I notice, okay, there's a guy here. He's got a table. Okay, there's a guy with a camera where there looks like the same guy. Okay, interesting. Let's get out of the way. I don't want to get in the way of the camera. And then recently they did a bigger show, more towards like a small convention type of setting where they have guests this time around. They have small panels, a costume show, an auction. And as a matter of fact, my daughter was in the costume show, and I remember I'm like, oh, there's a guy shooting back there. It's like, oh, that's great. That means that probably means that he's going to probably put it on some internet channel or for somebody. Maybe he's doing it for the promoter or for somebody, unless he's like some weird guy who's just shooting little kids' costume contests for his own. But it's like, oh, I hope it's, please God, don't let it be that. So after the show was over, a couple days later, I'm searching through the internet and I'm like, oh, somebody must have it. So I found a couple people who were shooting, and then I found specifically your video, but not for this con. I found one for the Wayne show first because it was a previous one you had done, I believe, for Toy World Order. Mm-hmm. Kind of like a walk through the aisles, talk to some of the people there, inject some of your comedy in opening, closing little bits and pieces here. And I found it really funny. And then I'm hopping over like, well, this is the YouTube channel. What else does he have? So I started watching some of your toy reviews, again, for Toy World Order, which they have, they have their own site, they have their own YouTube channel, but this is something that you've been contributing for them for a little bit of time now. And again, you're dealing with a different format. Now you're doing toy reviews, all the features that whatever toy you happen to be reviewing. And, you do still have some of that comedy elements sneaking into it. Then again, searching through, I met a character named Sven. Now, this is completely different. Sven Kingsley. He is not what most of you would recognize in terms of, oh, this is a character he's doing something completely different. One way of describing him, which is impossible to describe. You have to watch this video or these series of videos. He's got a little bit of Tony Clifton in him. You mentioned he looks a little like an Elvis impersonator. It's a completely wacky, hilarious character that hopefully in the future, as Das starts to contribute, we'll be able to showcase some of his previous videos, the ones that he's done for some of these other shows that he's done, and some of the stuff that he's done originally that nobody has seen on other people's websites yet. Some stuff that you only can find it on his YouTube channel. So after that is when we started corresponding, and I was asking him, would you be interested in showcasing some of your stuff and yada, yada, yada. And I was able to then watch his newest video, which is the one from the last toy show, which I hadn't seen. Somehow I had missed it. And again, it's that same type of humor that got me, and it's different. I mean, not everybody. I'll tell you right off the bat, it might be not everybody's cup of tea. When it is your cup of tea and you find it, you don't want to let go of that because it's perfect. I know I'm being a little too much, maybe.
Oh, it's all right. You can talk more about me.
No, please, let's talk about me.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's let the actual person that I keep harping over, let him talk a little bit. Das, tell me a little about your background. You're obviously a genre person. Tell me about where you grew up and how did your genre likes developed, and what kind of things did you gravitate towards?
Well, I grew up in the suburbs outside of Philadelphia. It all started from an early age. Mm-hmm. Given the 80s, I grew up in a time where I guess all the cartoon watching and comic book reading was beginning to become a little more accepted.
Okay.
So, big into 80s cartoons growing up, going back to J. Michael Straczynski, my favorite one. The one specific show that I just became totally enamored with and over the tops in love with was The Real Ghostbusters.
Right.
And, I jumped at the chance when they put that entire season out, or series out for, like $200. Worth every penny. I would, of course, at the time when I was younger, I had a little bit of a lisp. So I would stand in front of the TV with my little proton pack and sing along, Ghostbusters. My father used to make fun of me all the time about it. All in good fun. Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, and then, by the time I hit 5, I discovered Batman, and that was a whole new thing upon itself. I didn't quite get into comics until I was older. I got into all of the comic book characters through the cartoons, and then, here and there, I would certainly buy all the figures because I'm a huge toy nerd as well. But it wasn't really until college that I got onto a regular basis of reading everything, finding, graphic novels, be it Dark Knight Returns or Killing Joke, things like that. I'm becoming a big fan of the Alan Moore Swamp Thing at the moment. I think I have 2 more books to get. There's that.
But while you were growing up, how were you interacting with these things other than watching them? I know you like to do voices, so were you like trying to imitate voices? Were you trying to do your own videos? How were you engaging it?
Do you remember a little show called, I think it was Kablam on Nickelodeon?
That sounds familiar. The name sounds familiar.
It was a bunch of showcased shorts of different animation styles, and one of them was called Action League Now, which was this little short. Well, I think they used to have it on All That, and then it spun off. But I'm getting off topic. But it was a little short made up of action figures. And, it wasn't like stop-go animation, or there were a couple shots. But it's basically, hey, we're going to shoot from the waist up and move the toy from the leg. So I started doing some things like that because I was inspired by it. It went nowhere. I just shot on my parents' video camera. By the time I was around 14 or so, I was doing that. There was you should call it extracurricular. Well, it wasn't school-based, but it was an audio-video program. I did that for a number of years, so my friends and I would shoot videos. But then they offered a radio program within that, which I jumped at the chance. Not to say I was very good. Mm-hmm. I was one of the few guys in the group that could do some voices, but at 14, 15 years old, they weren't the greatest, but for a 15-year-old, it was great. I would write a couple scripts for myself. I created different characters. We recorded a number of those. I remember the guy who ran the whole thing. He didn't quite get my sense of humor. Of course, it wasn't as developed as it is now. Not to say that it is.
It's work in progress. It's always work in progress.
Always work in progress. So I did that, and, things just kind of fell off. By the time I hit my mid-teens, or even before that, I realized that there were the voices behind the characters. They weren't just animated characters that, it's Batman. Okay, it's Batman. No, there's a guy speaking behind that. And I probably summed that show up as to what got my mind and the gears churning. This is really cool. And I hate to admit it, I didn't really become a Star Wars fan until I was about 10. And
well, what year are we talking about here?
94.
94. Wow. So you're talking about the special editions coming in a few years type of time frame, because
when I guess they re-released the original trilogy on THX.
That was like 96, I believe. So it was right before that. Okay.
So, I knew Mark Hamill and everything, but I didn't realize that he played the Joker.
The Joker, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So after paying attention to the credits, I see his name. No. What? No, he can't. It doesn't sound anything like him. And I became so fascinated with that. There was him and I guess the one cartoon-specific actor that I became a big fan of was Tom Kenny.
Okay.
And this was prior to SpongeBob. This was Rocko's Modern Life when he played Heifer.
Oh, wow.
So at the time, he was doing a number of Nickelodeon shows, so I would follow all those. We didn't have Cartoon Network, and so little did I know that pretty much all of the original programming Cartoon Network had to offer, he was on all of them. So I missed some of that boat. So by the time I finished high school, I wanted to do something voice-related. I wanted to do cartoon character voices. Again, I didn't know quite how to. So I went to a liberal arts major, but I didn't know what I was doing. So that kind of dropped off, and I put it aside for a while until a couple years ago I realized, no. You're not old, but you're getting older. Let's do this now before it's too late. Some say it's never too late. But then with going to Toy World Order, prior to that, Jason and some of the other crew were on another website, and they did a number of videos. They did a half-an-hour program online that they would release once a week, showcasing action figures and fan questions, and, they do little video packages on them. So a friend and I, let's do that. We should do something like that. We got a camera. It didn't come to be. Jason eventually moved on from that site, and, he was my favorite of them. Oh, where'd he go? Where'd Jason go? And then all of a sudden, I find that he's made his own website. Oh, he's back. Duvall's back. Jason Duvall's back. Okay. Let's join this forum and see what he's got to offer. And he started up with a podcast, and they would have fan questions. And one week I decided to do like an audio sample and send it in, just, give my thoughts on some things. And he said, it'd be great if Das would come back. He's more than welcome to do this again. So I got in contact with him. We started a weekly segment where I would just comment on some of the toy news or nerd-related news. And at first it was just me. Then I kind of changed formats and started doing more voices and created characters. And it turned into a little news program. And the reporters would be the other characters I'm creating. Things got a little busy, so that kind of fell off. But I started doing toy reviews and all that stuff. And then came Sven. Then came Sven.
It's out of your hands. It's out of your control. He just showed up.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the name of his album. Then came Sven. Along came a Kingsley. The whole thing with Sven was 2.5 years ago. I went to Disney World, and they were doing a Halloween themed thing. So, costumes aren't encouraged. So I was going with my girlfriend, and I just kind of had this pompadour, aviators, pants that are too short, which are actually capris, and miss one socks up, one socks down, kind of.
You fit right in Disney. That's Disney. You're talking Disney now.
Yeah. So we walked around the park. Hey, look, it's Elvis. Look, it's Elvis. No.
Did you tell them they were marketing a new character and that you were part of the Disney Corporation?
I should have.
You could have been autographing little kids' autograph books.
Yeah. Well, I think at that point they just stamped the names. I should get a stamp.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I just couldn't let the character sit. So then I began to craft a little more about him, a voice, and then it just it went off the rails, but in the best way possible. So, we go to events, and he covers them in only the way that Sven Kingsley knows how to. We've gone to 2 flower shows. We have to up it for next year. Comic conventions, Wizard World.
Right. You mentioned that you had recorded another one, but you haven't finished putting it together also?
Yes. Unfortunately, despite the fact that Sven went as Super Sven, everyone there is in costume anyway, and no one knew what in the world to make of him. So fan reaction wasn't as great as I had hoped, but I still had fun anyway.
But on camera, it's great. When you watch the video, I'm sure it must have been very frustrating when you're there, and especially like you said, if you're wearing one of those costumes, you fit right in because that's the whole convention scene. But on camera, it looks great.
So this year, I decided to go as Dr. Doom. But instead of just kind of doing the same format we had done for all the other ones, well, this is Dr. Doom.
Is that the Facebook page, the banner on the Facebook page that I saw?
Yes.
Okay.
That is Doom with voice acting legend Rob Paulsen.
Okay.
Who, if anyone knows, is the original voice of Raphael, the new voice of Donatello, Yakko, and Pinky. That was from part of the video where I need to have everyone sing. Even as Dr. Doom, well, I confronted people as the Dr. Doom character, so he's a little off-putting, and some people don't know how to deal with that.
Wow.
There were a lot of people that just weren't interested in playing along, but we got enough footage. There are a couple things I need to reshoot, but it's totally workable, and it's still funny, and one of the best shots, we're doing a game show piece, and we grabbed this woman who wanted a photo, and she's totally unsure of what in the world's going on. So we start playing this game, and we're getting her into the groove, and by the end of it, she's totally into it. Just, you win, you hand out Doom badges. And
so this could be a new reoccurring character for you.
Hopefully so. Which is those last two pieces that I need to incorporate into it is what's keeping it. We did a location shoot, because I need to get exteriors for Castle Von Doom. So it looks ominous and rainy and all that. But yeah, I think it's going to come out really nice.
Cool. Well, I mentioned also the last time we talked, and again, I hope I'm not hyping this up too much, but these videos, especially, like I said before, the Sven videos, to me, they're like late night quality material. This is the type of stuff that you would see either like a Letterman or a Tonight Show or even a Conan having like a quick 3-4 minute skit that they would do. That's the type of material that I'm talking about here. And hopefully, again, you never know what happens with these things. You could luck out in one of these different outlets that you participate in. You might have the right person see it, and, hopefully one day the phone call will be made and you can turn it into something big.
Well, I was just happy and pleased to know that someone else there gets my weird sense of humor. I get more people that don't understand it than do.
Well, like I said before, we are going to showcase some of his videos, some of Das's videos in the near future. We don't have any specific order or time frame. As they come, we'll start kind of shuffling them into our rotation, if you will. They will be linking to everybody's individual YouTube channels or websites or wherever they came from. Or, like I said before, we might even do some original stuff sometime in the future. So I would like to thank you again, Das, for joining me today on the Introduction podcast.
Well, thank you for having me and finding me.
And we can't wait to start showcasing your material. So on behalf of everybody here at Geekfest Rants, thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Action League, now starring The Flesh. He's super strong and super naked. Thunder Girl, she flies like thunder. Stinky Diver, a former Navy commando with an attitude as bad as his odor. And Meltman, with the power to melt.